Hello guys, and welcome to another GA flying video. Today we are in Alaska, and we will be using the Diamond DA42 from CAUS to make a flight from Cold Bay to Unalaska, which is also called Dutch Harbor, and is one of my favorite destinations and one of the most fascinating ones. So let me first show it to you on a map. Just a second. Okay, so we are starting here in Cold Bay, and here is Unalaska. And this is pretty much the end of the world, because it's not just like mainland Alaska, but this is this long peninsula here. It's also pretty volcanic active, so there will be a lot of volcanoes along the way. Let's hope that we will have nice weather so you will see them. But Alaska in itself is also one of the most, as I said, for me, fascinating destinations. It's actually the most busy fishing harbor in the United States, and I do have payware scenery for it, so we will take a look. This is one of the sceneries that, as I said in the prior videos, were like held hostage by ORBX because they were not 2024 compatible, but I have still installed it and it still looks great, so we will take a look. Cold Bay sadly will be vanilla, but we just need it like as a starting airport here. So normally in Unalaska the weather is pretty random, so there are storms all of the time, but today it seems like the weather might be fine, but we will see. So one interesting fact is here that you have additional information here on Sky Vector for it, and there are actually approach cameras here, so you can check what the weather is. Sadly, I had to roll back the time a little bit to be able to make the flight with daylight, so we won't be able to use it. But yeah, this is also an interesting fact. And also one additional fact, when I was flying there for the first time a couple of years ago, I actually got lost, and it's pretty easy to do it, and I will show you like in a second why. Just let me go to the charts. Okay. So maybe here. So this is the first airport that I have seen in Navigraph that actually has additional videos allowing you to identify where the runway is. Because actually, if you are coming from the north, and you are coming from the north, it's hidden because behind a mountain, right? And when I was flying here the first time using the NDB approach, I actually chose the wrong bay, right, to fly into. So it's pretty challenging, pretty interesting, but we will see. Luckily, the plane that we are flying today has like very advanced navigation capabilities, and also is one of the best planes in the sim. So we should be able to do it without, well, many problems. It will depend on the weather. Okay, and with this, I think we can just go in. When it comes to the CAUS, there are no like walk around features. I mean, you can walk around, but there's nothing to click. So it's a pretty pure experience. It's just like a very realistic plane, but without pretty much any additional features. It does have failures, and a lot of them, 190, I think. Yeah, but you will see. Yeah. So once again, let's go inside. We can close this. And let's prepare everything here. Okay. So let me get the checklist here. Okay, let me check if everything is resetted from the prior flight. Breakers are okay. So we don't want any failures. I mean, obviously the failures are on. Okay. Okay, so let's start here. Electronic master. It also has great sounds. Okay, all in. Let's just wait for it to start. I can already provide the altimeter setting. 47. And coming back to Unalaska, so to Dutch Harbor, there's also like a TV show that is called The Deadliest Catch, I think, about like the fishermen there, right? Okay, so annunciator test here. This one actually takes 2 minutes, but it's important because it also tests if the icing fluid notifications are okay. And here there will be a very high chance that we will get some icing on the way. So it's worth it to wait for it. Okay, with other stuff, this is okay, this is okay. Let's take a look at the icing fluid. So this is not enough to start the flight. Okay, so we need more. In this case, there is no additional EFB pretty much, so you have to use the standard functionality. And here, mass and balance, cargo. Okay, and this is this one. Here you can see.
System test. Okay.
Okay, and you can see the de-icing fluid here. Okay, now it's higher, and we will need it. I can assure you. I was flying here like this winter, and it's not easy. And there's lots and lots of icing, so it's very good that this plane has the full anti-icing capabilities, right? But not just limited ones. Yeah, this is always annoying, this annunciator test, because it takes around 2 minutes for this additional one to appear that you are waiting for. But in the meantime, maybe we can do the next steps. Let me just see. So here again. Wait 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, so we can check the steering surfaces. Because once again, 190 failures. Okay. So let's make sure we won't get any. Yeah, sometimes I think it's like more than 2 minutes when I'm waiting for it. Okay, now it's here. Nice. Okay, and we can proceed. So trims are neutral. This is okay. This is on. The last time I was flying it on stream, so on video, right? I forgot about this. Gear fire warning. This is an interesting fact. It's also being done before the landing.
Check gear.
So this is something I haven't seen in other planes, that it wants you to do it before the landing also. Okay, flaps full travel. Okay. And fuel quantity check. This is also important because it doesn't always update by its own. There's like some advanced logic because the real one also have sensors only at some stages of like filling the tank. So let me just see here once again. And fuel. So this might not be enough. So let's just get some more. And you can also get some in the auxiliary tanks just so I can show you how it works. Okay. So now we have 48. So we have to actually adjust it here. Increase fuel. Nice. Did I click load? Yeah, I did. Okay. And let's just proceed then. Engine start. Doors are closed. Strobe on. Power lever. Idle. Propeller area. Okay. So left engine master. Actually, interesting fact. Normally it was always starting without a problem. But now with the last update, they have introduced, I think, some changes to the logic. So we will see how this will work out. Last time I was doing it, it was actually looking like an electronic failure. So maybe I have one, but there is like no place to know if it's one of the hidden ones. There's like no EFB where you can check it. But I will show you what is there like in a couple of moments. Okay, either way, we are waiting for glow to disappear. Okay. Okay, now this one works. Do we have pressure? Yes, we do have pressure. Okay. So let me just see. Okay, 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 okay. Everything seems fine here. So let's just repeat. Once again, let's wait for glow. And once we will be warming up the engine, I will show you the changelog from the last update. Okay, so this is fine, green, green, green. Okay, and if we need like the advanced engine display, then we can use this one, right? Okay, after engine start. Oil pressure is okay, RPM is okay. Lights, just in a second. Pitot heat test, we can just do it. Okay, it's normal for stall warning heat to give this failure when on the ground. Okay, so this is fine. Avionics master, multimeter is already set, standby horizon. No autopilot test. Let's check out the FMS. Okay. Should be already set, more or less. Yeah, this is our route. Let's check the weather. There should be some clouds, but no storms today, hopefully. Yeah, I guess we are kind of lucky. Okay. Fuel selector to on, it is to on. Okay. This is fine. So now we need to wait for it to warm up, so it's like the perfect opportunity to... Am I standing correctly? I think so. I didn't remember I was so close here to the border. Okay, this is fine. So let me just show you the last update. It was actually done a couple of days ago, so it's pretty fresh, just before the holiday season. So 1.2.5 is the current version. You can take a look at everything. So stuff that I found was interesting is this new pitot tube temperature simulation and overheating. And actually, when I was flying it the first time after this patch, I was standing longer on the runway because I wanted to check some additional stuff. And I did get the pitot tube heat failure warning. So maybe it overheated and disabled itself, right? But then I could turn it on again after some time, so maybe this is the simulation. Okay, improved touchdown sound and behavior is fine because the touchdown was like beep, something like this. It was like just a very slight movement of the touchdown and like not very pronounced, so it's nice that it's there now. Once again, a very complicated simulation of a plane, despite not having many features, right? So it's just like the pure experience of having the most realistic, right, simulation of the core systems. And also, I have read many discussions about this plane. There are many people who are like in detail observing the behavior of all of the top planes, so like A2A, Black Square, this one. And they are very often saying that when it comes to this very, very like minuscule stuff, subtle stuff, this is the one that does it the best. Maybe because like the developers only concentrate like on this one thing. So even like very small spikes in the engine behavior in some very rare situations. I'm not an expert, right? I'm not owning this plane in reality, so I just have to trust them. Okay. And with this, I think we can slowly prepare. Let me just make sure I will have all of the helpers that I like to have. So I want pairing, I want DME. Okay, and in the end we will also use ADF, because there is an NDB that really helps with the approach. And I think we can start taxiing. Let me just see if there's anything else. So obviously taxi light. Okay. We are still in the yellow, but we'll warm up during the taxi. Okay, head tracking. And we will go right here. Yeah, some really beautiful views, but as I said, it's like and this region it's very, very random what you will see and if you will see anything at all. So when it comes to the sounds, I really like them, but it's kind of, they seem a little bit low volume, but it actually depends on the phase of the flight. So sometimes it's a very loud plane, and it can be really surprising, especially when we will do the ECM test in a second. You will see it will be pretty loud. Yeah, some nice morning sky. So when it comes to this like Alaska Peninsula, Aleutian Peninsula, I obviously always knew it's there like on the map, but I have never explored it before. And for the first time during like my world tour, I was flying here, and I was so amazed. And it also looks great in the simulator. Because many like remote areas, exotic remote areas, that don't look very good, but this does. Okay guys, so let's then proceed. Parking brake, okay. There's circuit breakers, yes, okay. Trims neutral, it is neutral. Fuel selector to on, it is to on. Engine temperatures. Okay, so coolant and oil temperature are still kind of lowish. But we can proceed with just testing those here electronic controllers, right? So it's like this A auto, B auto. So let me just see. So we are just checking if the controllers are holding the RPM correctly. Yeah, so I'm normally not a big fan of glass cockpit planes and like those plastic modern planes, but it's nice that this is unique, that you can get failures not only like the mechanical stuff in most of the plane, but also a lot of the electronic components can fail here. So I think that this is pretty unique to this one, that you can expect other things than in other planes to not work, right? Okay, fuel pumps to on. Guess it's close to being green. Maybe let's just use the magic of the recording, and I will see you when it will be green. Okay, welcome back. The temp is in the green already, so we can proceed with the checklist. And here, this will be this pretty loud test, so let me just reduce the volume for you. Okay, no errors. So it's doing like the propeller exercising, all of the tests of the like electronic controllers, lots and lots of stuff. And with this, we can proceed to the runway. Okay. Veering into the direction of the wind. Yeah, beautiful views. So we are lucky when it comes to the weather, at least here, because normally like Cold Bay, when I'm flying around here, there is no visibility at all. You need time to go over the clouds and then it looks great, but today we are lucky. Which might mean that the weather in Unalaska will be horrible, but we will see. So when I was looking, when I would not turn back the time, then there is like a storm and 45 knots gusting wind in Unalaska now. So like there is a reason why they are recording this show, like the deadliest catch, specifically there. Yeah, so the nice thing is that we have all of the V speeds here, but like sadly I guess my monitor is too small, because there is no way I will see it. Oh, they just, yeah, because I was too fast. There's also like one page of the manual that describes all of the speeds at once, which I really like, because normally you have to search for them in different places of the manual. I did tune in the local NDB here because it's like part of the departure procedures, right? To turn left after reaching 1000 and then fly into the direction of the NDB. That saying, from what I can see, at least on the ground, it's not picking it up. So we will see if it will work later. Like, luckily, we don't really need it because of the very good visibility, but like you never know here. So like minutes before we started, well, we seem to have some problems with the toe brakes, so but it's like my problem, right? So minutes before we started the recording, the overcast was actually really strong, so we are lucky here. Okay, so let's just do the last part of the checklist then. I might have to add some curves like to my toe brakes, because lately they brake pretty sharply. Okay, line up. So we have the lights on, transponder to old, which is fine. Okay, pitot heat on, approach check clear. It's clear. Runway, max power check. Okay. So we are ready. Let me also show you the V-speeds, right? So as I said, everything on one page. Great. Okay. Rotation speed 7.6. Okay, let me monitor the volume. Yeah, very nice. It's one of my favorite flight models currently in the sim, and it's very unique in how it like interacts with the wind. I really like it. Whoa, I was never able to see so much here. Okay, let's reduce the speed, and you can see the load indicator will turn to white, right? And now tap the brakes and gear up. nice. Okay, and now we have the bearing of the NDB visible. This arrow pointing backwards. Okay, so we are at 1000 feet. So let's move to the side. This looks great. Oh no, too much. Not immersive. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty loud. There is a headphone simulation. I will just show it to you in a second. Well, maybe a minute. And we are flying in the direction of the NDB then. Okay. Whoops. Okay, let me get the yaw damper. And we can reduce the speed slightly. Okay, let me trim it up. Seems to be kind of in trim, so I can show you the cinematic view. Actually, is it? Yeah, so I was playing around with the chase plane settings. I actually reduced the duration of every of those cinematic views to 10 seconds because it was at 15. And I'm just playing around with the functions. So when it comes to the movement inside, I'm really happy with reducing it to 50%, as I have like described in the Comanche video. It really looks great. Okay, and after time we will have to decide if we want to go over the clouds. This might be interesting, so let's maybe do it. There is an airway that goes to Unalaska, but sadly it moves over like the ocean, so we won't get all of the great views that we have now. And I want to show you all of the volcanoes. Actually, it's a chain of volcanoes, and many of them are active, right? And there were like eruptions in the 90s, for example. So it's another like fascinating aspect of this place. Okay, let me do the checklist. Gear selector up, it is up. Flaps are up, they are up. Fuel pumps off, climb power below 92, okay. Rudder trim is okay, pitot heat is on, lights as required. So as we are moving away from the runway, we can get rid of taxi and landing lights. Okay, let me just get the heading here, heading mode, altitude and pitch. Once again, not a big fan of like G1000 planes, but here with all of this terrain, with the poor visibility, it's like very, very useful. And let's switch to some outside views. Okay, as you can see, beautiful place. I hope I haven't promised too much in this case. It's really great, and it's great to test out anti-icing, because when I'm flying normally here, I'm pretty much always getting wing icing. Actually, there is one like downside of this plane, is that there is no windshield icing simulated yet. Okay, so you are getting like rain drops, right? This works normally, but sadly it doesn't ice up. Maybe because it's like such a big canopy here, right? So maybe it would look strangely when the developer was testing it. I'm not sure. Okay, let me just look at stuff that I have prepared for today. Yeah, I think that's it. I talked about like the airport, right? Let me just zoom out. Okay, so I think we can turn. What I like about this one, I mean about the G1000, is that when you are using heading mode, you can see exactly where you will be flying along, right? So like with an airliner, but then with the airliner you are not flying so close to the ground like most of the time. So here it's even more useful. So for example, if I have the volcanoes here, I can see exactly, right, where I will be. That's saying it doesn't take into consideration the wind, obviously, so I will have to correct. Let us see some views. Yeah, very nice. But there is something about this wing here. It looks even better if you are using one of the standard liveries that are white. This one is a custom one that I have downloaded from Flight SimTO. Just to get some more color here, because I was afraid it would be only white on white. So this one also has a custom interior, because normally everything here is like gray, right? So all of the color here that you see is a livery that is custom made. And I will link it in the video description if you like it. Okay, let's do a quick check if everything is fine. Okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Yeah, I'm getting paranoid again because I was flying the Aerostar a couple of days ago, and I did get some popped breakers back then. But it's been some time since I had like a serious failure in a plane that really had like consequences, right? So I think the last time in the Cessna 310, when I was doing like my world tour. Yeah. So I think we can already tune in the NDB for Unalaska. Obviously it's some time till we arrive there, but just to be prepared. Okay, so here, ADF. Let me get the map for you. So here's our route. And here, 283. Okay. 283. Okay, nice. And there's also a VOR, but it's only like an DME VOR, so it's only showing the distance, right? So 113.9. 113.9. Okay, and it's already set up here. That's nice. So you will get this. Oh, and we can see it here already. I'm not sure if this is really that we are already receiving it or if it's only in the database, because in the past, when I was using Garmin's, they were sometimes providing the data of the VR, even if we were outside of the range. It was just basing on like the data that it has in the database, right? Okay. And I think we can jump ahead a little bit to show you some additional like beautiful terrain. So we will see each other in 1 minute, I think. Yeah, welcome back. Sadly, the cloud cover is getting thicker, and it's a shame because we're closing to the volcanoes and to this like very dramatic terrain that we can see here that simply looks great. Okay, you can see all of those like lava formation here and stuff. I will try to disconnect the autopilot and go below the clouds here using this one, so we will see if this will do us any good. I just love the nuanced turbo sounds and engine sounds on this one. Really amazing. Okay, let's do anti-ice, because now we are for sure going into the clouds, so let's use up some of this fluid. For a moment I could see that there was like a lot of space below the clouds that would still allow us to see something, but I'm not sure if it's still the case. We will see. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sadly the visibility is not great, and this is also something that will be a thing with Unalaska, because I have checked the meter, and sadly like the clouds went down by 1000 feet pretty much. Which will make the landing much more difficult, because when I was checking like last time, the overcast was at 2000 feet, which is perfect, but now it's at 1000, so we will see how this will work out for us. Okay, let's try to stabilize here. Maybe we will get some luck. Yeah, there are some gaps in the clouds. Let me add some power. Yeah, this turbo wine is awesome. Yeah, lately I can see me enjoying planes that I would normally not enjoy in the past. So for example, like this one that is like a very modern plane, glass cockpit plane with G1000 that I never liked in the sim. But this one is like so good that even if the type of plane is really not my favorite one, I'm having so much fun flying it. Okay, let's try to go up. This area here around those lakes also looks great. So maybe we will fly here between the volcanoes, right? And then we will go out like this. I can also show you the auxiliary tanks because we haven't talked about those. So I'm not sure if you need the pumps for them because they have their own pumps. And I have seen like different instructions in different manuals, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong, that you also need those pumps because they also have their own pumps here. Okay? And you can see here, auxiliary pump on. And they will just move the fuel from the auxiliary tanks that don't have an indicator here to the main tanks that do. So this will increase. Okay? We will just need to remember to turn them off for landing. Yeah, very nice. Let me add some more power. Yeah, I don't know. There is just something very magical about those exotic places at the end of the world. Especially if it's cold there for some reason. Let me just click on advisories, it stops blinking. And I can already set up the altimeter for Unalaska, because we are still under the transition altitude, right? So we can as well fly with the closest correct one. So it was 2952. Okay, so let me just use this one. Maybe we can just set it up so we will enjoy some nice views. Okay. Good. Yeah, I think that was the right choice of color for this plane because it works like beautifully with this terrain, this nice red. Okay, and we will see if we will be able to see those lakes here. Okay, anti-ice is on. Let's just check the fuel here, engine. Yeah, and it's going down. Lately, when I was like landing here in this area, it was like so harsh icing that I needed to turn it on to high, and then it was like consuming a lot. So this is also something that you need to watch out for. And it's nice that the icing can be like so strong that you also need the higher setting and that it's simulated, right? And let me see here. Yeah, we might see the terrain around the lakes. That's nice. Let me just get control, make sure that we won't crash into the volcano here. And I was also reading about this region, so there's lots and lots of wildlife, right? So obviously this is one of the reasons why this gigantic fishing port is also here, but it's not only the sea that has so much fish, it's also like the terrain here. There's like lots and lots of species and also some unique ones to the peninsula. Pretty fascinating. Okay, so we can see that already all of the fuel was transferred, so this is here, so we can turn those off. Oh, and I told you I will also show you noise cancelling phones, right? Yeah, so I think you can hear the difference. Okay, let's reduce the speed. Yeah, what can I say? It's just beautiful, but like obviously part of it is also Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? Trying to trim it out how I want it to work. Yeah, we are lucky today because the wind is pretty weak. I think last time when I was like kind of here, it was around 30 knots of wind, and now it's only 6. So very nice. But at the same time, the wind is not blowing away the clouds, right, from our destination airport. So you will see. Oh, because I don't have the yaw damper on. Okay. Because I was wondering why it's reacting to me like doing small movements on the pedals. Now I see. Okay, so heading hold, altitude hold, autopilot. Yeah, I like this one more and more. I was even considering using it for like my world tour, because I was kind of disappointed in the Aerostar, because I started my world tour with the Aerostar, but then got stuck in Canada, because it was storming all of the time in Canada, and it didn't have like anti-icing capabilities, right? But this is something that I could suffer through, I guess, especially since it's pretty powerful, so it's easy to go over the clouds, right? But when I started it lately in Canada, it totally iced up on the ground. Like after 5 minutes, I couldn't even like warm up the engines, and already I couldn't see anything behind the windows, and there was no way to de-ice the windows because it was so cold, it was building out so fast. So I cannot use it for an around-the-world flight, because often, even in summer, there might be like a cold morning in the mountains, which happened to me like many times, and then there will be icing. And like I cannot have a plane that is already iced up after 5 minutes on the ground, right? Because when I'm doing the world tours, it's just like one life, right? So if I would crash, then it would be the end of the world tour. Well, maybe excluding some bugs, if it would be due to a bug, but this has not happened before. So sadly, Aerostar no, for sure something with full anti-icing. I was hoping for an patch to the Cessna 310 that I was using before for it, because Milvis, or like I think Blackbird now, was talking about possible update, but sadly they say that it will be a 2024 version, a new version, which is great, but they will start working on it in the next year, right? So it will be a very long time until it's ready. So for now, this is like a pretty strong contender for the flight, which is a total surprise to me because, as I said, glass cockpit. And at the same time, there was like no visible wear, which is also a shame. I really liked it in the Cessna and the Aerostar, right? But as I said, sadly, no full anti-icing. I was also thinking about the Black Square Baron, because it needs to have 2 engines. Because in the past, when I was doing this world tour, I did lose an engine, right? 2 times even. So I need something with 2 to not die. So maybe the Baron, but the Baron, but the Baron doesn't have like very advanced ownership features, right? So this is something that Black Square is still working on. Okay, let's take a look outside. Yeah, looks great. Okay, yeah, this also looks great. Everything looks great here. So I'm not sure if I have already mentioned it, but obviously when we are looking outside, okay, we can see the pilots. So when you have seen my last video with the Comanche, the new update, then you could see there that there were no pilots, and it was the fault of chase plane. But in the current experimental version, doesn't show native well, people inside, right? The pilot and co-pilot. Maybe just the pilot, sorry. So it doesn't show the pilot, right? Which is a big problem, because when I was using those cinematic views, the plane was empty inside, which is not the point of having such a great view. But here you can see them, just because it's not 2024 native yet. Okay, so it obviously works in 2024, as you can see, it works great, right? But it's not a native conversion. This is why it doesn't have this like pilot logic that was there. Okay, guys, and with this, now we will have a stretch over the ocean, which is like not so fascinating, and I'm out of interesting topics. So we will just meet again when we are ready for the approach. Okay, thank you, bye. Okay guys, so we are getting close. Let me just brief you on everything that will happen and has happened. So maybe at the beginning you have noticed that I used the wrong frequency for the ADF in Unalaska, so now it was corrected, and now it's showing us correctly the bearing, right? So this is pretty much where the airport will be. Let me just reduce the speed a little bit. We are once again on anti-icing. I had to turn it off and turn it on again because we are in the clouds. The clouds are going down. Hopefully a landing will be possible. Other stuff that I can show you. So this is our approach, and something that is interesting here is that it's actually different than the approaches that I have in Navigraph, because when it comes to Navigraph, the approaches for Unalaska, they actually only have two. So this is the NDB one, this is the one I was doing during my like world tour, right? And this is the Arnav one that I wanted to do. But like the one that we have in the sim is totally different names, but it's kind of the same logic, right? So I decided to use the same steps that we have. I actually needed to Google what my GA plane is when it comes to the approach categories, and it seems like it's A or B. So this will mean that our minimums will be 2000 in this case per row altitude. So I have also set it up already. Okay. And we need to be at 3300 at Vunik, right? But there is already a top of descent calculated here. So this is like much more convenient than when I was doing it only with radio navigation with a plane that had no digital map here. That's saying it will be still pretty challenging. There is always like very strong turbulence on the approach here. So it will be still fun, I think, for you guys. Okay, let me just hide this one. And let's do our checklist. Okay, descent, power is set, rudder is okay, altimeter is set. We can listen to the ATIS. Just maybe start with noise cancellation.
Papa Alpha Delta Uniform Automated Weather Observation 12000 Zulu. Wind 341 at 5. Visibility for an heavy rain. Sky condition ceiling 1300 overcast. Temperature 5C. Dew point 4C. Altimeter 29050. Papa Alpha Delta Uniform Automated Weather Observation 12000.
Okay, so we do have a change in weather that is really bad, right? Luckily the cloud cover should be kind of okay, but now we will have like weak tailwind. That's saying this approach from here is still safer than the other one. And actually I don't even have charts for the other one. They are not in Navigraph, they are only in the navigation here. So I won't be using them because I don't have all of the details. So let's just hope that the wind that will come like from behind, right, will not get much stronger. We also have a new altimeter setting, which is here. Zero visibility, rain. Okay, nice. Okay, let's proceed with the checklist then. Altimeter set, and this is this gear warning test. Okay.
Check gear.
Okay, so it seems that it works. Yeah, looks nice. Also terrain here. Yeah, if there is a good place for a G1000, this is it. With all of this awareness that you're getting. And as I said, normally like gusting wind here and like very quickly changing weather. Actually, the dew point being so close to the temperature is what is causing, I mean, if you can expect like sudden changes in weather, you can see it by the temperature that is close to the dew point. This is at least what I have like learned while reading on it during like this world tour, right? Where you are sometimes like cruising long hours above like water, right? And you don't have a choice. So you need to understand if you can expect like a change in weather. If I'm wrong about this one, then please tell me, okay? Because this is the knowledge that I'm normally using. Okay. So other stuff, we will have a top of descent. So we can use VNAV, which is nice. I think we might not be close enough. Let me just see. Yeah, because normally it arms. So maybe we're just not close enough. And we can also reduce the target altitude to 2000 feet, which is our minimums. Oops, too much. Yeah, and this is also great. I mean, it's hard for me to say because I just love old planes, right? With old radio navigation, but I'm also excited about this one. Okay, let's see how this looks from the outside. Yeah, I mean, not so bad. You can see something. Like this is really scary. Okay, so I can already make myself visible on the approach. And let's see what we will do next. Okay, this is set. Fuel selector check on. Okay, fuel pump on. So we can already prepare those. Fuel transfer off and lights as required. And let's see here. Okay. So pretty much what we can expect. So let's just brief the V speeds here. Okay, so approach speed 84. Okay, and maneuvering speed pretty low. Okay, 84. Okay, we will have some tailwind. And here we have the speeds for the flaps, so 133, 113. Should be fine. As I said, the speeds are being displayed here, but sadly my monitor is not big enough. So when I have this normal view, I can barely see them here. Okay, let's check on the de-icing fluid. Yeah, 22. But as you can see, it's steadily going down. So this is also something that I really like about this plane, that it's not that you are just like turning it off and then you are invincible. You can ignore icing for the whole flight, right? But you can run out, and also you can get icing that will be too strong, and then you have to go too high, and then you are running out very quickly. So great. Easy, but not too easy. Yeah? Whoa, the visibility is really bad. Okay guys, so I think with this briefing we have a lot of the basic covered. So I will jump ahead once we are here on this final approach here. Okay, thanks. Okay guys, so we are on the approach now. As you can see, no visibility at all. Let's hope that it will be nicer below the clouds. Let's get back into the cockpit. Okay, here you can see we are turning on the approach. and VPAF has activated, right? So I needed to click VNAV when we were closer, and VPAF is here. Okay. And now we are descending. Let me reduce the speed to 133, which I think is the first flap speed, approach flap speed. And we will hope for the best. We have the rain here already, right? So make sure anti-icing is on. It's nice. We're reducing speed nicely. Here we have the bearing to the airport, so the NDB that we have set up before. Here we have the DME reading for VOR, right? Here is the glide path. Works nicely for now. Okay. Let's deploy the flaps. Let me just show you here. Okay. Let's add some power. Okay, so one important thing, right? The minimums are 2000. I don't think we will see the airport at 2000, right? So it's possible, maybe 10-15 minutes ago it was still a thing, but now, sadly, I think we will need to stretch like, well, the security rules here a little bit. So I hope you will understand. That's saying it will be probably even hard to find an alternate airport in the whole peninsula here. Because when the weather is getting worse, it's really getting worse. And we don't have so much fuel. I mean, we can see some stuff. But I do not think we will see like this rock that we have to find. Okay. You can move it down to 1000, re-enable the VPAF. Yeah, continue. So this is obviously this rock, right? And I can see it here, but gear, horn.
Check gear.
Okay, and this is here. So by now, by 1700, we would see it. And if we would start our flight a little bit earlier, we would also see it. Okay, so approach speed is 84. This is actually here, right? So we need to fly over this one. This is pretty useful. Yeah, this is really bad. Okay, but as I said, like a couple of minutes before, and we would still have like visibility like 500 feet earlier, right, than this one. Okay, I'm taking over. This is already the threshold here. Yep. It's really bad. Okay, free green. Flaps landing. Landing confirmed. And let's just do it. Actually, let me just show you. We are a little bit too slow. So there is an object here that is actually like a crashed boat. And it has a pretty nice model. Okay, so I was talking too much. Let me go back. On the right path here. lost the glide path there. Here you can see it on the left side. Whoops, there's always turbulence here. Okay, and we do have a landing. Some nice rolling out sounds here. Yeah, this is green. Really looks like a northern outpost here. Okay, so before we move further, let's just set up the plane. So we can turn off those. Let's not blind people here because we are already on the ramp, right? Okay, so pitot heat not needed, especially since you can overheat it now with the lightest change. This goes to standby. Fuel pumps are already off. Flaps are up. Lights is required. Let's just keep this. This is this initial strobe, right? That kind of works as a beacon. Cabin light, fine. Okay. So let's just move up. Yeah, I really like those sounds. This looks really nice. Okay. Look. And let's see the parking checklist. Engine cool down for 1 minute. So we can, yeah, let it cool down for 1 minute. We can take a look outside. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah, I really like how this looks. Actually, we can maybe make a short tour here. Okay, so people waiting to get inside. So once again, this is from ORBX, and it's like 2020 only. So this is why they are blocking it if you don't do this like workaround, right? With fooling the installer into thinking you have 2020. And there is also the port modeled here, and also all of those port buildings here, which you can probably see. Sadly, I still don't know how to do like a very fast camera in chase plane, so I can just show it to you like this. I like to use this airport to fly here with the 146 because like this Air Pacific airline that I was flying in my like 146 video, they were flying from here, right? And this airport is like exactly okay-ish for a 146 for the shortest one, and it's pretty challenging to land here. So they were like doing it in reality. although they were not very successful from what I know. I mean, they didn't crash just in a business sense. Okay, so I think this was a minute. So we can proceed here. Avionics master off. Electronic consumers, so we don't need this one anymore. Don't spray this fluid anymore. Anything else? No, this stays. Pitot heat is off. This is off. Okay, nice. Engine masters off. Okay, now we can turn off the strobe. Let's just get rid of those. And before we turn everything off, I want to show you the menu, right? Because I said there is no EFB, but there are like some EFB-like settings. Okay, so it's an engine, I think, and here in menu. So failures mode is normal. It can be accelerated, right? State saving is on, engine damage is on, realistic parking brake on, trim speed normal, and then here you can reset damage. And you can reset just some types of damage, right? You don't need to do a full overhaul. That's saying, as I said, there's like no list of damage components. So it's hard to say you might be flying with a failure for a very long time because there is no like inspection feature, right? Because for example, in the 310, so 310, I was sometimes like every 10 flights, I was like flying at the big airport and was simulating that I'm doing an inspection here. And here you cannot do it. You need to guess if everything works or not and do all of the tests. Okay. Okay, so with this, we can just turn this off. Okay, and electronic master. Okay. Bloop, 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 bloop. Let me just get a nice view. Yeah, let's just say this is okay-ish. Okay, so when it comes to the cows, a total surprise for me because it's totally not my type of plane, right? It's too plasticky, too modern, too glass cockpity, but I just love it. Hand flying, all of the sounds are amazing. The depth of the simulation is amazing. The only thing that I'm afraid of is that if I would take it for like a world tour or like for flying longer, that there would be like not enough stuff to play around with, right? I cannot even like set the chocks or anything. Maybe they will add it once the 2024 redesign comes, because for now, this is just the 2020 version with a lot of patches that make it better in 2024. With some 2024 features, but like not the full pack. So I'm eagerly awaiting what else comes from cows here. And once again, Unalaska, I'm really recommending to trying flying it, especially the NDB approach is pretty challenging. So I would recommend everyone to try it at least once. Our landing today was not perfect, but we did land. So it wasn't so bad, and I hope it was interesting for you guys. Okay, thank you, and see you in future videos. Bye-bye.